Hey guys, and welcome back to another Axel 72 video. In today's video I'm back with another interview and I'm here with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Axel? Thank you
I'm
for having me on here.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm great, thank you, and thank you very much for coming on. It's a real privilege to speak to you.
No problem, you're welcome.
Great. Okay, so am I right in saying you're 29 and you're 8-0?
8-0, yeah, mate. Yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
great. Okay, well if you're on the around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and let's get straight into it. So the question which I always like to start off with is, why did you get into boxing?
So, as you know, probably everybody knows that I'm type 1 diabetic. I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 5 years old, 4 going on to 5. And the nurse who were guiding my parents through my diabetes journey, she recommended that Ali should be put into sport, to keep his blood glucose levels in a good manner. So my father put me into football. From football, I went on to karate, and then with karate, there wasn't much competition. And at the time, Amir Khan was going to the Olympics, and I used to watch football, all sports, and tuned into BBC and watching Amir Khan winning in 2004 at the Athens Olympics, and I was around 11 years old, and he really inspired me. Ricky Hatton were fighting at the time. I think he were boxing Costa Zoo, and my dad took us to watch Ricky Hatton versus Costa Zoo, and prior to the Costa Zoo fight, Amir Khan, he really inspired a lot of British Asians to take up boxing, and went to the boxing gym, and now we're here. I'm 8-0 myself. But it's been a battle, getting my amateur license. I didn't get to box as a junior, as a youth, and I was thrown in at the deep end as a senior, which there's no complaints, but I just wasn't given that early on amateur experience. Being a schoolboy, being a junior, I had to always, fight for my license. And then in the pros, the same happened. In 2015, I was supposed to make my professional boxing debut, but I wasn't granted my professional boxing license due to being type 1 diabetic. And then in 3 years on, 2018, I was granted my license, and now I'm 8-0, looking to go 9-0 in another 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's a great story, and it's very inspirational what you've done. And so I was kind of wondering, before we start speaking about your amateur career and your pro career, what is the overall message that you're trying to send to other people, to the youth of coming up with today?
Like, for example, Tyson Fury is a massive example out there across the world, showing that if you're suffering from mental health, you can overcome the hurdles and, be successful in life. And I'm trying to prove a point, not just being a boxer, anything in life, being type 1 diabetic doesn't stop you from doing absolutely anything in life. Seek the right help of the right people, surround yourself around, good people, and dreams are achievable in any walk of life.
Yeah, definitely. It's very motivational, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen your career and have been inspired to maybe go and try the sport themselves that they might not have done without seeing you doing what you've done. And so it's a big
On a
inspiration.
daily basis on my social media, like on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, I get messages from all over the world asking, how am I boxing with type 1 diabetes? How do you control your blood sugar levels? And, it's all about trial and error. But after this fight, I am going to do, set a podcast up with Diabetes UK and answer, people's questions out there. I can't, I receive a lot of messages, and I can't, reply to each individual. So after this fight on the 8th of October, I will be doing a podcast and, answering people's questions, how I do control my sugar levels in a good manner.
Definitely, and I will be definitely checking out that podcast. I'm sure that is something that a lot of people will be very interested in. And so thank you very much for sharing that information. We'll speak more about your boxing career now. and
Yeah.
so you've had a very good career so far. And if you could maybe check back to the very start of your career for me, and do you remember what happened in your first amateur fight?
Yeah, so I struggled to get my amateur boxing license. I was supposed to get my license when I was 11 years old, and they said you're type 1 diabetic, it's impossible for you to compete.
Yeah.
I kept boxing, and then at 15, I tried again, getting boxing license, and they said no, impossible. Then I went over to where Amir Khan boxed at Bury Amateur Boxing Club. So I spoke with Mick Jelly, and he said he wants to see me train. So I sparred, and he said, look, you're good enough, to box. So he told me to do a few things, like, for example, losing a bit of weight. Lost my weight, and I got my license, and I fought on a show over in Durham. I remember Bradley Saunders being there, and it might have been his cousin I boxed, and I stopped him in the first round, first minute. And this lad who were boxing, he was 2 fights, 2 wins, and he was supposed to be beating me. But I remember we travelled all the way to Durham. It was a couple of hours. We had a great laugh. It was a full team from Bury Amateur Boxing Club. A few of us who were boxing. So we had a great laugh, going up there, and came back victorious. Mm-hmm. First round, first minute stoppage.
Yeah, that's a great story. You definitely silenced any of the doubters with that, and I'm sure that was a big relief for you to be able to show your ability.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big, task, being type 1 diabetic. People don't realise, it is hard. I'm not making no excuses. I've chosen this sport, and let's crack on with it. I've created history becoming the first type 1 diabetic boxer. Now I want to create history for the second time, becoming the first type 1 diabetic champion. And I'm training at Oliver's gym over in Salford with Humphrey Harrison, who's my head coach, and Thomas Mazarinsky, he's my coach as well. And we train hard. Like today I was over at Alex Matvienko's gym in Bolton, sparring there. And we're back there on Thursday. So just cracking on, just getting on as normal. Mm-hmm. Putting the hours in the gym and on the road.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And so you had you struggled to get your amateur career started, but when you did get started, how many amateur fights did you end up racking up?
I had 34 amateur fights, winning 29. I won the Celtic Box Cup, the Haringey Box Cup. I won the University National title, and I did okay as an amateur. I would have loved to have had the schoolboy experience, the junior youth, but it is what it is. It's how it's planned out. I'm cracking on.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and so
we've just got to move forward. We can't look back. We've got to move forward.
Definitely, and so you did speak about how you also had a little bit of trouble turning pro, but why did you try and turn pro when you did?
So I thought, speaking to a few individuals, and they said this could be a big thing, you proving to the world, when you become a champion, that anything in life is possible. Mm-hmm. And I'm absolutely, doing that. I didn't give up. I went to university. I graduated in sports studies. I had a deal with my father. If I complete my education, I can crack on with boxing, and he'll support me. And that's exactly how it's panned out. So I went to university. At that time, I wasn't turning pro. I was just boxing as normal, and then it was just random that I turned pro. Got offered back. I went sparring at a pro gym. The coach said, "You're good enough," and I thought, "Let's go ahead and let's give it a go."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I respect that. In a way, just kind of like the sudden, just like, yes, I want to do this. This is my time. I'll do it now. Somebody said that I'm good enough, and I completely back his opinion, and I'm ready to throw myself in the deep end.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what's happened. Mm-hmm. And I'm just enjoying the sport, enjoying each day, taking it a day at a time, and enjoying training, and let's see what the future holds.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so you've had the 8 pro fights at the moment, and you've won all 8, so big congratulations. And so which one would you say you've performed your best in?
I'm a big critic of myself. I don't think I've shown the best of myself just yet. But in my third fight, In my third fight, I boxed an undefeated kid. I was 2-0, he was 3-0, and I think that was probably my best performance. It brought the best out of me. I had to switch on, straight away. As soon as I walked out to the ring, I had to switch on and win that fight. And that's exactly what I did.
Definitely, and so I suppose in a way the best is still yet to come from you.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I'm learning every day. Like, for example, we're working on a few things, inspiring today. It's about learning. I'm learning on the job, to put it in a better way. Like I said, in the amateur career, I would have liked to have a lot more fights. It didn't turn out like that, but now I'm learning on the job, and I've got a fantastic coach in Humphrey Harrison, and we're always building, each session and watching it back and where I need to make improvements. That's exactly what we're doing.
Great, and I'm sure we'll see these improvements in your next fight. And I was wondering, when do you have a possible date for your next fight?
Yes, so it's 8th of October at the Bolton Whites Hotel. I'm looking forward to that, putting on a good performance. So each fight, I look to improve from the previous fight. So whatever mistakes are made in the previous fight, I want to clear them up and show better, in my next performance. So my next performance will definitely be better than my previous one.
Great. Okay, well, you've spoke about your diabetic side and why that can be a pull for people. But I was wondering, from the boxing side, why should people come and watch you boxing wise?
I'm exciting. I'm never involved in a dull fight. If you watch all my fights, no matter who it's against, you get value for money. And about entertainment, and I have a lot of fans come to watch me, and they entertain in the crowd, and I'm entertaining in the ring. It'll be a great night. If people come and show their support, you'll have a great night.
Yes, definitely. And so you spoke about how you're wanting to be the first diabetic person to win a belt, and I was wondering, how far do you believe you can go? Which belts can you win?
That's down to my promoters. Me winning each fight at a time. It's early stages yet. That's down to matchmaking and how I'm getting on in performances. At this moment in time, I'd like to in my next few fights, I'd like to become a British champion first and foremost, and see what comes after that.
Definitely, and so to be a British champion and to be a champion in general, you'll have to fight some big fighters. And so I always like to ask if you could possibly give me, maybe not for a now opponent, but for a future opponent, a dream opponent of yours.
A dream opponent of mine would be someone like Errol Spence or your Terence Crawford. He might be retired by then. But imagine boxing against Terence Crawford, getting your ears boxed off. His skill set is on a whole different level. He's a complete package. I'd love to see, Errol Spence and Crawford getting it on now. They're both in their prime. Terence's skill set is on a whole nother level. So's Errol Spence. Let's not put his skill set down. I remember when he boxed Kell Brook. That was a great fight. Errol Spence and Crawford, I'd love to see myself, boxing them.
Yes, definitely. And you seem like
they're top of the cream.
Yes.
I watch boxing on a daily basis. I'd love to see them two fight now. I'd like to see them fight now because they're both in their prime. I don't want to see like a Pacquiao versus Mayweather, or where the sell by date's gone. Of the fight. So I'd like to see them box now.
Yes, and I always like when the fighters are also a big fan of the sport, and so that kind of leads me on to a question which I only really like to ask if the boxer is a fan of the sport, and that is, so we've got the Canelo versus Golovkin fight, the third fight I believe this weekend, and could you give me a possible prediction for that?
Yeah, I believe we've never seen Golovkin touch the canvas. We've never seen him, even like hurt.
Hmm.
Let's be honest, we've never seen Golovkin hurt.
No.
The guy's a machine. He's like the Terminator. He just keeps coming, and I believe Canelo's going to stop him this time around.
Wow.
I believe Golovkin's looking old. Is the Japanese lad who he boxed in his last fight? Is he called Murat? He got
Yes,
hit off
Maracha.
him quite
Mm.
a lot in that fight, and if them same shots come from Canelo, I think we could see Golovkin being hurt.
Hmm.
Hurt badly.
Hmm.
And I think Canelo will be very, very hungry, looking to prove a point to the whole world. From his last fight, his previous fight, losing to Bivol, so he'd want to showcase his skills, to the world and show he has got the hunger and he can stop, Golovkin.
Hmm.
End it for all. Because people laugh at me. I personally think Canelo won the first fight, Golovkin won the second fight, and now this fight. We're going to find out next
Yeah,
week.
makes
Is it?
sense.
Is this Saturday?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's this Saturday, and I believe Canelo's going to stop Golovkin this time.
Hmm. Yes, that is a good and interesting prediction, and so
He's got a point to prove to the whole world,
hmm
coming from his last performance.
definitely.
So I think he stops Golovkin this time round.
Hmm. Great, and
He's
so
my favourite fighter. I went to watch Canelo versus Amir Khan,
oh
over
wow,
last week. And I remember watching that fight. It was sad, the ending, because Amir is like
yeah, yeah.
he's like a sporting hero to me, and it did, hurt, watching him the way he went down. But Canelo is
Next level.
a fabulous fighter. Yeah, very good fighter.
Definitely. And so, thank you very much for doing this interview. I'll leave it with this final question, which I always like to ask, and that is, you've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
My platform.
Would you like to
Uh,
shout anything out?
yeah, definitely. I'd like to say, watch out, watching me fight. Follow Axel on his, social media, on his Instagram and his, subscribe to his
Thank you.
podcast. And also, guys, look out for me. I'm gonna create history for the second time. Becoming the first diabetic champion and prove to the world that you shouldn't give up on achieving your dreams. And follow me on social media, Mohammed DK Ali. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Mohammed Ali Box. And guys, get behind me and support me.
Great. Okay. Well,
Nice one, that's the top man.
yes. Thank you very much for the kind words, and indeed, you're a top man as well, mate. And so, maybe in a few years, when you're fighting for these belts, we can come and do a return interview.
100%, mate.
Great.
Just give us a message and I'm there.
Great. Okay. Well, if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and thanks for watching.